Shalom everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sakal and welcome to part 2 of why I am no longer a Christian. Before I get started, I just want to say thanks for tuning in. If you haven't seen part 1, you can go ahead and visit part 1. I am not a teacher, I am a student. I love to study scripture. I get asked questions by friends and family, and I have my own questions that I like to study out and just find the answers to. I like to go into the Hebrew, into the Greek, and just really get and gain an understanding. And so maybe my studies will be of some assistance to you somehow, and especially if you're new into the walk, perhaps this will help you get to know the scriptures in a different way. Okay, so we're going to go to get started with part 2 of why I'm no longer a Christian. Okay, so the system of Christianity teaches a lot of things that are not true. For example, there are only 2 laws that Jesus tells us to keep, or at most the 10 commandments, right? Have you heard that? Do you say that? I know I used to say it. So I always ask questions when people say things that I used to say. So I asked, where can you find that there are only 2 laws we have to keep, or at least the 10 commandments? Like, is there a scripture anywhere that says there's only 2 laws left and Jesus gave them to us, and okay, well, the 10 commandments, like we do have to do the 10 commandments. Okay, so here's what I find in scripture about the 2 laws. Let's go to Matthew 22:37. Yahushua said unto him, Thou shalt love Yahuwah thy Elohim with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment, and the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. On these 2 commands hang all the law and the prophets. So we see here that all the law and the prophets are not gone, but hang on to has to do with loving Yah and or loving his neighbor. So I don't know if you get that. So let's just recap that just a little bit. So it says, on these 2 commandments hang the rest. So love the Most High with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Love your neighbor as yourself. So with that, that's where the commandments are going to come from. They're going to have to do with loving the Most High. And the other ones will have to do with loving your neighbor as yourself. Okay? So it doesn't say that there are only 2 commandments left, does it? Okay. So what about the 10 commandments? If the 10 commandments were all we had to keep, then we could do all kinds of sins, like sex before marriage, or celebrating Christmas, or kick animals. I mean, a number of things. So think about this. The reason why we see and say the 10 commandments is because that is what the heading says in the Bible, right? The titles like that are not there, okay? So when you see, oh, here's the 10 commandments, the Last Supper, this and that, those are not in the actual scriptures. The translators tried to put in there to lead you or cause you to believe under the guise of, oh, this is the title, this is what's coming next. Okay, so Yah was giving the commands, and while doing so, this happens. Go to Exodus 20:18. It reads, And all the people saw the thunderings and the lightnings, and the noise of the trumpet, and the mountain smoking. And when the people saw it, they removed and stood afar off. And they said unto Moses, Speak thou with us, and we will hear. But let not Elohim speak with us, lest we die. And Moses said unto the people, Fear not, for Elohim is come to prove you, and that his fear may be before your faces, that ye sin not. Verse 21. And the people stood afar off, and Moses drew near unto the thick darkness where Elohim was. And Yahuwah said to Moshe, Thus thou shalt say unto the children of Israel, Ye have seen that I have talked with you from heaven. Yah then proceeded to give Moshe the rest of the commandments. Did you know that there weren't just 10? Like, that's not just where it ended and okay, you can live however else you want to live. No, Yahuwah loves us so much that he instructs us. For example, if we borrow something from someone and it breaks in our care, it's our responsibility to replace that and give it to the person back the way they had it or better. Things like that. It tells us that. So it's not just, oh, thou shalt not. No, they're instructions for living life, for people to be treated fairly and kindly and with love, right? That's how you love your neighbor. That's why the rest of, the laws hang on those too, right? Because if you break something, if someone breaks something of yours, you would want them to replace it, right? That's loving your neighbor. Okay, so let's go to Exodus 24:4. It reads, Moses wrote all the words of Yahuwah and rose up early in the morning and built an altar under the hill and 12 pillars according to the 12 tribes of Israel. Right? It's not according to any denomination. It's not according to the Christians and the Lutherans and the Catholics and the this and the that. It's according to the 12 tribes of Israel. Now let's go to Exodus 24:12. It reads, And Yahuwah said to Moshe, Come up to me unto the mount, and be there, and I will give thee tables of stone, and a law, and commandments, which I have written, that thou may teach them. Okay, so many times we hear, oh, the law of Moses, like he came up with the laws. And we see here that it was the Most High who gave them to Moshe and gave him the charge to teach Israel the laws. Okay, so Moses went up to the mountain and he was there for 40 days and 40 nights. You can check that out in Exodus 24:18. Okay, now to read more than just the 10 commandments, you could read Exodus 20 through Exodus 24. So we can see that there are well more than 2 commands and well more than 10. Some of them are for men, some of them are for women, some of them for priests, some of them for children. There are different laws for different things and different reasons. We have well more laws in this country than there are in scripture. But I rarely hear people complain about, oh, the laws, there's just too many in America or wherever you're from. There's just too many. Like, how often do we hear that, right? But when it comes to the Most High, we hear, oh, I hear there's 613 laws and we can't keep all those laws, when most people don't even know what they are. We were warned in Deuteronomy 28 that keeping Yah's commands will cause us to be blessed, and breaking the commands will cause curses upon us. We will get more to Deuteronomy 28 another time. Okay, so I hope you can see that the teaching and belief that there are only 2 or 10 commands is false. And that is another reason I am no longer a Christian. I have to go by what the Most High says. I choose Yah, and I choose his word over my tradition, over what I was taught, because when you learn better, you do better. What's so wrong with that? Another reason why I'm no longer a Christian is because Christianity teaches we just have to obey Jesus's commandments, like just those 2. With that thought as Jesus's commands, being 2 commandments, we just talked about that, right? We see that the rest of the law and the prophets hangs on the 2 commandments of loving Yahuwah thy Elohim with all thy heart, soul, mind, and strength, and loving your neighbor as yourself. Notice, he wasn't asked how many commandments there are, but which are the greatest, okay? And then he told them which ones were the greatest and why. Because all of the rest of the law and the Torah hang on those 2 commandments. Okay, so that's part 2. I hope this study helps you dig deeper, go further. This is just a little taste to get you started, and I hope that I've done that. So stay tuned for part 3, and please remember, do please like, subscribe, and share Ahava Shalom.